Speaking of scientists, we have two rock star guests who are joining me today. We have Kelsey Allen, who is a senior research scientist. We also have Harrison Smith, who is a scientific analyst. Both of them work in the Ocean Ecology Lab over at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. Kelsey and Harrison, I just wanted to thank you both so much for taking time out of your very busy schedules to talk with me today. How are you both doing today?
Doing very good.
Yep, doing great.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Well, and I think as we can all agree, it is a great day at SSAI. Am I correct?
I would agree.
Yep, the sun's back. It's good.
Absolutely. Well, we've had a lot of rain, but I'm sure we'll definitely be seeing some flowers, right? Coming up soon.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Well, Kelsey and Harrison, what I wanted to do was I wanted to ask you both some questions in relation to your work that you both currently do for SSAI. I think our audience is going to very much enjoy our conversation for today. Kelsey, I'm going to start off with you with this first question. Could you please tell the audience about yourself and describe the projects you have worked on at SSAI?
Yeah, sure. I came here about 1.5 years ago from the University of Hawaii at Manoa. So I've been getting used to the weather here, very obviously. With work, basically what I do is I'm involved in field campaigns, so I get to go out to sea. So far, I've been to Florida, California, around the coast of Africa, and to the Maldives. And what I do while I'm out there is collect samples for our discrete measurements. So we're looking at things like the color of the water, we're looking at carbon in the water, nitrogen in the water, and the overall mass of things in the water, among other things. So it's a lot of work at sea, and then I come back and I analyze most of those back in the lab as well.
Wow, that's very cool to hear. And I really appreciate you, Kelsey, sharing a little bit more about your background and your experiences. So I think as we all say, you know, from Hawaii, aloha, right?
Yes.
So, but that's awesome, Kelsey. I appreciate you highlighting a little bit about your background and experiences. Harrison, I'm going to ask you the same exact question. Would you mind telling the audience about yourself and describing some of the projects you have worked on at SSAI?
Sure, thanks. I'm a scientific analyst here at SSAI. I got my bachelor's in physics from Rutgers and master's in oceanography from University of Delaware. So I've been in the East Coast my whole life, basically. And my project at the Ocean Ecology Lab in SSAI is basically similar to Kelsey, but with a focus on optical properties of the ocean. So I'll also go out on field campaigns, and the instruments and data that I use and that I'm interested in collecting is related basically to the intensity and the color of light that is going into and coming out of the ocean and those kind of optical properties.
Wow, that's very cool, Harrison. And I'm just very fascinated by some of your field campaigns that you both have been on. And I know we're definitely going to dive deeper into your most recent field campaign that you both took as well. So I'm sure it's definitely cool, as you both can agree, in terms of like traveling to different areas and then, you know, coming back and analyzing that data. So I'm definitely very excited to hear even more about that. So Harrison, I appreciate you highlighting more about your background and projects at SSAI as well.
No problem. Yeah, thank you.
Sure, absolutely. So I wanted to transition on to my next question. And Kelsey, this is a question that I'm going to be asking you. Your research on marine nutrient cycles, especially at the microbial scale, plays a critical role in understanding ocean health. Can you share how your work aboard the OceanXplorer, particularly during the PACE validation mission, contributes to global efforts like improving food security, supporting environmental resilience, and even advancing national security? And then on top of that, what was it being like to being asked on the spot for a visit and interview with students at the Atlantic Technical University in Cabo Verde, which was a moment that not only inspired future scientists, but also made local headlines?
Yeah, of course. So whenever we go out in field, whether it's OceanX or any other ship, what we're doing is to validate the PACE satellite. So we collect a lot of samples out in the ocean, and we use that data to make sure that PACE can match it with its own instruments. So the goal is basically to use PACE to look at areas of the globe that we can't get to for various reasons. So as long as we can make sure our data matches, then we can trust it with areas we can't get to. As far as food security, PACE can be pretty informative for fisheries. It can identify what's called harmful algal bloom species. So these are species that can release toxins or can deplete the oxygen in the water so much that it depletes fish and can kill the fish with hypoxia. So we can predict those to an extent. We can look at them with PACE, and then we can also help mitigate if we have enough for warning about it. Now, there's a project, I know a couple projects that go on with using fisheries and the satellites. We also use that data to look at how ocean is changing over time. So a lot of things that are happening is an increase in nutrients in the water, basically from anthropogenic sources. So we can look at different types of microbes will dominate the water depending on the nutrient load in their environment. And we can see these from space with PACE, and we can verify them and identify them on a community level and what effect that they can have. Are they harmful algal bloom species? Are they neutral, or are they possibly beneficial? So national security is a bit of a tough one, but our work on OceanX was done in international waters. So rather than being national security, we do a lot of more international cooperation. So OceanX is really, really stellar PR. And in fact, in order to sample in some of the places that we sampled, we have to have permission from foreign governments. So they will reach out to those governments, and then they'll get permission, or they won't get permission. You know, they respect whatever the government decides to do. But if we can get data from other countries and integrate it into what we're doing, then we can have kind of a more global, like, cooperative agreement on what we're doing with that data and making sure it all matches up. I know PACE itself is a very sophisticated satellite, and it's got instruments that we use for specific purposes. However, those instruments can be used for other purposes. And I believe that's a topic that came up with the versatility of PACE. And I don't know much more about that, just that there are other applications than what we are doing in a bunch of different ways. As far as being asked on the spot, we did have a few days notice before we met with the embassy people and with the students. But it was pretty cool to go out and to get to see them. You know, a lot of what we do can be outreach at the drop of a hat. So it wasn't super, super stressful for us, but we were really happy it was a Q&A session, not a presentation or something like that, because it's very hard to do those things at sea. And yeah, and so it was much nicer to sit down and have like a table talk with them rather than trying to give them a presentation. So we got a lot of feedback from them, and we got to give a lot of advice.
Wow, that's very cool, Kelsey. I really appreciate you breaking down in terms of your work with the PACE mission. You know, here at SSAI, for those of you audience and viewers who are currently listening, we've done previous podcast episodes in relation to our work with the PACE mission. So please definitely check out our YouTube channel and subscribe right down below this video, so that way you can see some more of our content with the PACE mission. It's very, very exciting. We've gotten some wonderful data from that. And Kelsey, too, just as a side note, you know, with the students that you spoke with at this university, were they like sophomores to like seniors, since it was a university, or what was the age range for the students?
First to second year master students. They were a specific subset of students for their oceanography program. So they were very applicable to what we were doing, which was good.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. Yeah, I was just curious. I wasn't sure if it was undergraduates or if it was graduate or even doctoral students.
Yeah, I think it was open to everybody. The focus was the master students, and I do believe a few undergrads also came in just to peek their heads in and see what's going on.
Oh, fantastic. That's awesome. Well, I'm so glad to hear of the interest that came with it. So that's just very cool that you did have a little bit of lead time just to, you know, go in and, you know, speak with them. So I'm sure that they will definitely, you know, never forget, you know, that presentation. It's just super, super cool. So Kelsey, again, I really appreciate you diving deeper into your projects and about that trip as well.
Sure.
And my next question I wanted to ask was, Harrison, this question was going to be directed towards you. Your work with the Ocean Ecology Lab's field support group, processing complex optical data, ensuring quality control, and contributing to data archives like SeaBASS is vital to how we understand the changing ocean. Can you walk us through how these efforts, especially during field campaigns like those on the OceanXplorer, help solve real-world problems such as monitoring environmental change, supporting naval operations, and even informing emergency responses? And again, just like I asked with Kelsey as well, what was it like being part of the OceanXplorer team within the U.S. Embassy in Cabo Verde, where you were asked for an impromptu visit and interview as well? A great outreach moment that not only connected you with local students at the Atlantic Technical University, but it also made national news.
Yeah, it did. That was a great impromptu visit. Yeah, great question. First, the work we do can definitely solve some real world problems. So like, for example, OceanXplorer field work we just did, is about a month-long field campaign along the West African coast. And, we're collecting validation data for the new hyperspectral mission PACE. So that data, we're going to use that to make those daily global images from PACE more true to life, right? Really, that data can be used to make any ocean color satellite more accurate since we have it in the same place and time. So what you can get with that kind of, reusable data helping multiple missions is you're sort of building this network, right, that is sensitive enough to accurately measure a long-term change. When all your different sensors can agree with each other, you can trust that what you were seeing 10 years ago is just as real as what you're seeing today. So you get that kind of network that's sensitive to that sort of thing. And, that's kind of one of the real world problems that our data and the stuff that we do actually solves. As far as the visit, that was really delightful and kind of unexpected. It was great to talk to the students. Yeah, they were really had excellent questions, and we even impressed ourselves with sort of our interdisciplinary knowledge that they had questions about public health and viruses, stuff that we don't necessarily study, but we found ways that PACE could possibly inform some of their projects, and so that was pretty rewarding.
Wow, that was absolutely fantastic, Harrison. And I appreciate you highlighting a bit in terms of some of the problems that your work is contributing to in terms of solving some of the real world problems that we currently face. And, just as a side note, Harrison and Kelsey, I just wanted to congratulate you both just in terms of the great recognition that you have received, especially with your most recent visit to those students at Atlantic Technical University. And the fact that it made national news as well, that just shows that, we have subject matter experts who are currently out there who are contributing and making a difference in terms of, bettering our planet and our society for all. So it definitely warms my heart that you both had such a great experience there. So I just wanted to congratulate you both on that experience.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Transitioning on to my next question that I have, and these are going to be fun questions that I'm going to ask you both just as a side note. So, Kelsey, I'm going to ask you this very first fun question. The question is, if the microscopic marine microbes that you study had their own reality show, kind of like Survivor Ocean Edition, I don't know if you've seen that, but based on that, which species would be the biggest plot twist, and what surprising role do they play in the nutrient cycle that most people wouldn't expect?
Yeah, so I talked a lot about the harmful algal blooms earlier, but those aren't really what I'd call a plot twist organism. They're kind of expected in most places in the world. So for me, the biggest plot twist isn't really a species, it's a category. So I would say marine viruses would be probably your biggest plot twist. A lot of people think of virus and they think about being sick. They think about the cold, they think about flu, they think about COVID, but a lot of people don't really know that everything can get a virus. even viruses can get viruses. And the vast majority of them cannot affect humans. So there's not really any worry about going in the ocean and catching a virus there. But with the microbe-specific viruses, ones for phytoplankton, they will cause their cells to lyse. So their host cell will lyse or burst open. And when they do that, that doesn't just kill the cell, that will release all the nutrients that that cell was using, and it's released back into the environment for other microbes to use. So if a population of phytoplankton gets a virus and other phytoplankton are not susceptible, you can actually see a change in the community composition as those nutrients are being released for phytoplankton that are not susceptible to that virus to grow up then. So it's really like this really cool kind of change in nutrient load and in community composition when you throw viruses into the mix.
Absolutely, Kelsey. And I, like I said, really appreciate you bringing up the point as well that, with viruses, it could mean, multiple different things, right? So it doesn't, just impact, human beings like ourselves, but, it can also impact, any other organisms as well, depending upon what it is. So yes. I think we all can agree, nobody, regardless if you're a human being or if you're non-living or something like that, we all don't like viruses.
We don't like getting them, but we do like viruses in the ocean because they can release those nutrients. But that's people liking them. The phytoplankton getting them probably don't like them very much.
Well, that's true. You bring up an awesome point there. Yes. So, but yeah, we as humans don't like, getting sick. But, in relation to what's going on in the ocean, there can definitely be some benefit there, like you mentioned. So I definitely appreciate you, Kelsey, highlighting that even further. And Harrison, I wanted to direct this next fun question over to you. And the question is, you spend a lot of time wrangling ocean optics data and making sure instruments behave both in the lab and at sea. If you had to describe your favorite instrument as a character in a sci-fi movie, what would that be and why?
Yeah, I was excited for this question. This is a great question. So I thought about it and say the most charismatic instrument that I use at sea and throughout most of optical oceanography actually would have to be called an ACS. The ACS is basically a super precise hyperspectral sensor that measures how much light is lost or absorbed in a sample of seawater. And these instruments are kind of notorious across optical oceanography because they're so sensitive that they need frequent maintenance to work. But no other instrument can make all the same measurements at once. So the ACS kind of reminds me of like a stereotypical mad scientist in a movie. It's like a bit eccentric and it needs to have the right kind of stable environment to do well. But if you can talk to it and you have a lot of patience, like you might be on the verge of a breakthrough or some kind of, eureka moment. So that's who I thought. ACS is kind of like a mad scientist.
Oh, that's very cool. And that's very fascinating, Harrison. And I've actually never even heard of ACS. So what does that acronym even stand for, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, it's great. It's not even an acronym. It's actually just an AC meter. So A is absorption, C is attenuation. Just believe me on that one. And so the S is just because it's hyperspectral. So it's got a lot of wavelengths that it measures. So for once, it's not actually an acronym, but it's an AC meter and it's hyperspectral, so ACS.
Wow, that's very cool, and I appreciate you breaking that down even further. I didn't realize that wasn't an acronym, so
yeah,
that's still very cool to hear and see even further. So that's just awesome. I really appreciate you helping to break that down even further. So.
No
Well, Kelsey and Harrison, based on that, I, again, just wanted to thank you both so much for taking time out of your very busy schedules to talk with me today. You both are truly rock stars who are really making an impact and a difference globally. And everybody around the world is going to continue to be fascinated by the great work that you and your colleagues are doing. Please definitely keep us informed in terms of additional trips that you might go on, additional field campaigns, and also any innovative insights that come from the data that you gather and analyze. And we cannot wait to highlight it.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate you taking the time to highlight us. It's great.